Hello everybody, welcome back to Throttle Grotto. So, I was going to bring you a rallycross video this week. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. Why is that? Find out on this episode of Throttle Grotto. Alright, so it turns out that a key component of going to a rallycross practice event and doing all of the fun things that come along with rallycross is the car actually moving. And I did a clutch in this car, and the car doesn't move. So I screwed something up on the clutch, and I'm going to find out what it is. I guess the first thing that I should show you, I'm going to show you real briefly because I don't know what's going on with this car. I don't know if I'm damaging something at this point or not. Alright, so the issue is, car runs normally, but when I go to put it in gear, let the clutch out, I don't go anywhere. I just get a whole lot of squeaking, which you can hear from up front right now. So, I don't know why that is. And unfortunately, I have to pull the transmission to find out. So that's what I'm doing tonight. I'm pulling the transmission instead of loading up and driving to drive this thing in anger. I'm going to pull this transmission in civility. Let's hope it remains civil. Alright, so let me apologize first of all for not time-lapsing all that stuff from different angles like a lot of these guys that do YouTube do. I figured a lot of you were just going to fast forward through the quick and dirty stuff anyway. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to show you all the things that I had to take off in order to get the transmission out. And it's a pretty sizable list of things. So we'll start over here. Got the battery, top half of the air box, the bottom air tube, the motor mount assembly with the battery bracket. So this is actually the bottom half of the battery box. The battery box. This is the transmission motor mount, and then this is the cable. This is the mount that holds all of the shifter cables to the transmission. You have to drain the transmission, and since I just put this fluid in, I'm going to reuse it. Then you have to take the axles out, and this is the bracket that holds the passenger side CV shaft to the block. This is the rear pendulum mount. This is a wire holding bracket. And of course, I had to take the skid plate off to get all that out of the way. And this is all of the motor mount bolts that, well, there's actually more. Because some of those mounts, or some of those bolts, are subframe bolts. And I had to drop the whole subframe out of the, basically it's just sitting there on the jack right now. There you can see I've got the passenger side CV shaft hung so it doesn't get all bent up. There's the driver's side CV shaft. Had to undo the ball joint, the tie rods, the sway bars, and here you can see right there's that's how far I had to drop the subframe. And I don't know if I'll be able to open the door to the car because the jack's in the way. And let me see if I can get you guys low enough to see this. There's a bolt. Oh, let's see here. There's a bolt that comes out of the steering column that allows the whole steering column to separate. Once you have all that out of the way, you can you can suspend it by either an engine hoist or a one of these engine bars, and then drop the transmission out. Now, one thing I did differently on this time is I bought one of these guys here. I went to Harbor Freight and spent 80 bucks. I had a 20% off coupon. I spent 80 bucks on this transmission jack. And oh my God, buy one. If you're going to do a transmission job, find one on Craigslist, find one that somebody bought and used once or twice. I'll probably use this again a few times in my life, so I don't feel like the 80 bucks is a complete waste of money. And I tell you what, I have never taken a transmission out of a car easier, because I did it with a floor jack on this car, and it was nightmarish. And it literally came out, once I had all the bolts out of the way, it came out in like a minute. So that is my new favorite tool of the week. If you don't have one of those and you're going to do a clutch job, find a used one, find one on Craigslist, find one of the like super deal coupons, and buy one when they're on sale, because that made that made this job a lot easier to deal with. So I'm going to do a little inspecting here and call my subject matter expert on focuses and see if he has some tips on what I did wrong. But I'll let you guys know here in a few minutes. All right, everyone. So I believe I have figured out the problem why there was so much squeaking and absolutely no clutch engagement. And that is because my clutch slave, the brand new one that came with the clutch, is broken. It broke almost immediately. Let me see if I've got a pointy tool here. In a way, I'm almost relieved, because it wasn't something that I did something stupid, like I put the clutch in backwards or something like that. So let me flip this around and I will show you what I found. So let's see here. So if you look at the top here, there, just see that little piece of metal that's flopping around in there? That is not good. Neither is this item here flopping around. So I think the clutch slave just broke. Probably a very cheap clutch slave, but a costly one in time and effort. So I'm going to pull this off of here and see if I can find a new one. Maybe not tonight, but I probably can find one tomorrow. And the good thing that came out of all this is one of the guys from Instagram, Man Bear Cat, I think is his name. Anyway, he's a local rallycross guy, and I told him that I'd put a differential in this transmission, and he is going to take a look at the differential and make sure that all the preload and everything is set correctly, and potentially save me a ton of money down the road. So that's going to be that's it. Sorry I didn't do more hands-on, like taking this transmission out, but honestly, here by myself, I really wanted to get this done tonight, and I didn't know how long it was going to take. But you can see from all the parts that have to come out, it's not too difficult. And actually, with this little transmission jack, it made it literally 1,000 times easier than doing it with a floor jack. So, but everything else looks like the clutch looks okay. I think it's just the slave took a dump, and so good news. I'll be back on the road soon. So even though this is a big pain in my neck, I really hate doing jobs twice. I didn't have any control over the slave cylinder, so the car will be better for it. I just need to get through the suck, and we'll get it back together, and maybe next weekend I can go get some seat time. So that's my goal, get this thing back together super quick and do a little seat time next weekend, and check this car out off-road because I haven't got to drive it yet. So this video is a little disjointed because I came back out this morning and decided to remake a portion of it, and this thing's not sitting level, so I have to prop the view up. Okay, so since I don't have the tripod handy, I'm going to film it this way because I screwed up on something that I shouldn't have, and what I screwed up on was trust in an eBay vendor. So let me explain to you what we figured out on what was going on with this transmission and clutch assembly while I'm making a huge mess here. So this was the clutch disc that came out of the Focus, and you can see it's completely destroyed. Like, there's not even any lining left on this side of the clutch disc. This is the new disc. Now if I hold them up like this, and approximately what should be the same diameter, it's not even close. It's like a ½ an inch off. The other issue is, all right, so you can see here, this is the eBay clutch disc, and this is the Ford factory clutch disc. So there's a definite offset difference in the clutch discs, and this is why you should keep the top of your toolbox clean, because then you can make comparisons like this. So the difference in the diameter and the offset of the clutch housing, or the clutch friction material, definitely is causing problems for me. So one of the other things I screwed up was the differential install. Apparently I did not do the preload setting correctly. So two guys that are local racers reached out to me, and Russell and Chris, the man Bearcat on Instagram, reached out, and he has my transmission and he is putting it back together the right way. So huge shout out to him, and big thanks for saving me thousands of dollars of damage down the road. So I have a new clutch disc that I picked up locally, and I'm going to compare the two and make sure that they're both right. But I'm pretty sure the one that I got locally, first of all, is the right diameter, and hopefully I'll be able to put this car back together soon. I'm going to spend the rest of the day here working on stuff around the garage. I got a bunch of stuff I want to move around in here, and that's how I'm going to spend the rest of my day, cleaning up the shop. So I screwed up plenty of stuff on this install. Hopefully you guys learn to always check your equipment before you put it in, instead of blindly trusting vendors. And even though the clutch disc has the right part number on it, like this one here is a Ford, it's a stamped, well, it's like a printed part number, but it's on the disc. That's all for this week's episode. Hopefully I was able to help someone out down the road, save them some hassle. So until next time, get out there and work on something.